Hello everyone, VanguardOfValor here, and welcome to Master Spy. So, here we are. This is a game by TurboGun, published by the same. Let's hop into it and see what we're looking at here. We're not going to worry too much about the menu, we'll come back and take a peek at this later. For now, we're just going to hop into a new game and go from there. So, this is Master Spy, a game with an unfortunate title, but with some interesting pros and cons to it. So, we're infiltrating the Gale Electro Tower. Let's do this thing. Here we are. Our trench coat wearing, bag on his head, Master Spy. Fantastic. Not the most heroic looking of dudes, but he is a man of mystery after all. So, as you can see, the objective in each level is to get the keycard on the stage, or as many keycards as there may be, and get to the exit. In addition to that, we have a couple basic, very basic, tools at our command to actually do this. We have the ability to walk left and right, surprise, surprise. The ability to jump, and the ability to go invisible, which is pretty handy. Now, there's one additional ability we have, which the game doesn't actually tell you anywhere other than in the controls menu, but which is required to be able to beat the game, which is that if you jump before you reach the top of your arc, you can do a flip jump, which will extend your distance. That's actually required to beat some of the later levels, but nowhere in the game does it tell you you can do it, and if you try and jump anywhere after your peak of your jump, it just doesn't work. You can do it anywhere up until the peak, but at no point past the peak, and that's kind of an unfortunate problem. The game doesn't tell you how to do that, because it's kind of a big deal, but otherwise, your controls are very limited, which means that most of the challenge in each level comes from getting past the obstacles by using those limited abilities. Most of the guards we're encountering here can't see us if we're invisible, but will see us if they bump into us, or if we are visible in their line of sight. But they do introduce a lot of different kinds of enemies as we move forwards, which really mix things up, as well as different kinds of obstacles that keep things interesting. There's platforms that appear and disappear, there's enemies that can detect you even if you're invisible but won't sound an alarm. There's all kinds of different things that help mix things up, like here we've introduced cameras. Cameras can only see you if you're visible while they're looking at you, but they don't move. And there's a variety of things like that that help to keep the challenge up. Here we have a dog, and the dog will charge us as soon as we're on the same level as it, but it doesn't immediately raise the alarm unless it manages to touch us. So they do a bunch of things like this to keep things interesting, which is good, because in a game like this with such limited controls, you want to make sure that you're not running out of things to keep mixing it up. So that's definitely a positive there. Now, I will also say I quite like the music in this game. It's pretty fun. It's got a nice feel to it. It does a good job of... Oops. Went visible too early there. It does a good job of matching the mood of the game, which is fun. But you do have to be a little bit attentive to what's going on around you, so you can't get too much into the music. But the music is pretty solid. And as for the visual side of things, I quite like that too. The pixely style here is, in general, pretty great. Now, I mean, the character models don't look too impressive, but I mean, the environments are very nice. There is one problem, though. In some cases, the pixely aesthetic here winds up making some of the environment very difficult to see. And that can be really bad if it's actually something that you can land on, but you didn't realize it because it looked like it was part of the background. There's only a couple stages where that's a major problem, but it is a problem in a few cases, and it does have a fairly significant impact on my ability to enjoy those levels, because it makes them really hard until you realize that what you thought was not something you could stand on is in fact a platform. As you can tell, the game also does get pretty difficult in some places. There are some definite difficulty spikes as well, rooms that are much more difficult than those around them, which are a bit of a problem. But apart from that, the difficulty is overall pretty consistent with what you'd expect. It gets significantly harder in the later stages. Here I am dying repeatedly on one dog. I would not be surprised if you have a hard time, because I generally was not trying to talk at the same time as playing last time, and that makes it a little bit more difficult, but we'll do our best to get through here so we can finish at least the first stage so you can see what else is in this game. But yeah, the graphic style is really, kind of nothing new, being pixely, but it is very well done, which is a definite plus. There we go. Whew! We're approaching the end of the first world here, so we'll be able to see the story as it is in this game. But we'll get to that in just a second. Now, beyond that, The game is, like I mentioned earlier, in some ways very similar to games like Super Meat Boy, where you wind up dying a lot in some levels, and you respawn very quickly. So it does have that, like, one more try style gameplay, but the problem is that, unlike in Super Meat Boy, in Master Spy, it sometimes gets really annoying to me. I really enjoyed Super Meat Boy, and I got like 111% or whatever the perfect is in that game. But playing through Master Spy had many levels where I was just getting annoyed at the deaths rather than having that inspiration to play further. But that's something that you may run into. It's a little bit more frustrating than other games that involve a lot of deaths. So here we have the story of the game. Every time you complete a chapter, you get one of these little cutscenes where our characters interact. And the art for these is again, pretty solid. Some nice pixel art stuff going on here. But while the story is interesting, it's a little bit questionably written in a few cases. Like, this first scene has one of the weirdest... I don't understand part of the writing of it. It's very strange. The characters don't have voices. They just have sort of sound bites that play as they speak. Here we're trying to recover a tape, and we'll watch through a little bit of this just so I can show you some of the weirdness that goes on in the dialogue, and we'll skip out of it again. But, Here's one of the weird things about it. Just, the writing isn't exceptional. That's not even the worst case scenario. Yeah, okay, we get it. It's a big deal. Now this is the other weird part. $10,000 if you get me that reel. He says no less than 50. And he comes back saying that he'll give him 100,000 instead. That's not how bargaining works. It is a bit weird, but anyway, the story is decent, the art is pretty good, and it's enjoyable to get a little cutscene at the end of each stage. Now, at the end of each stage, you also get a rating, and this game is definitely meant for those who are into speedrunning, because as you can see, we got a D in speed and an F in sneakiness. This is way, way better than I did on my first time through this game. Way better, and I still got an F in sneakiness and a D in speed. So this is the game that's definitely intended for people who want to go fast and want to do it perfectly. If you're a speedrunner or somebody who's that kind of perfectionist, you like to really improve your times, you may find the Master Spy is really interesting to you, because then it also gives you the ability to bypass that, first player experience, which is part of what I find is one of the problems with this game. A lot of the levels are really frustrating until you figure out how to get through them. Once you've figured out how to get through them, they get a lot easier. So for people who are looking to do that kind of speedrunning affair, it works a lot better. You get the ability to really learn your path and play through it properly, and then you don't have to worry about those problematic first encounters. Now, we're going to head into the next level here briefly, then we're going to come back and look at a couple other little things, but we also have some of these continued cutscenes at the start of stages. We're going to skip through that. Thank you very much for now. If you want to see them, you can play through it yourself and discover them that way. Here's our second mission, infiltrating Feldstrom's forest hideout. Well, let's go do that. And now here we have new kinds of obstacles. We're hidden behind a bush here, but we have lasers. Lasers don't care about you being invisible or being visible, but they will kill you if they touch you, and they're just a generally new element to add variety into the stages, which is good. And here we have 2 keys being required for doors, as well as a variety of other things. So the levels are varied, the environments are really nice, and they do keep mixing things up, which is great. But, like I mentioned, I do have some concerns with this game. So let's head back to the title screen here. And we'll take a look at some of the other things that are a little bit unusual about Master Spy. Now, one of such thing is the level select. Once you've beaten the game, you can go to the level select, and there are only 5 levels. They're pretty decent. Some of them are very difficult. The factory is vicious. Some of the levels in the super yacht are vicious. But there's also a cyber world, which includes 8 secret levels, which you can access by going through hidden walls, which flicker somewhat if you stay on the screen for long enough, and they have bonus levels in them. But for some reason, they all get unlocked once you've beaten the game, which seems a little bit strange to me. You'd think they'd only want to unlock the ones you've actually found, because I only found 1 playing through the game normally, and all 8 of them are unlocked if I go here to the cyber world. That's a little bit disappointing. There's a little bit over, something like 58 stages total, I think. So the game isn't huge. It took me a while to beat it, because some of the later areas are quite difficult. I wound up taking something like 5 hours to beat the game, but I don't know, it was... some of those hours were very frustrating as I was dying constantly. Now, beyond that, another thing I want to take a quick look at here is the options menu, because it's pretty severely lacking, I find. It has controls, so you can see what they are. You can't rebind them or do anything else with them, although you do get a lot of options. For example, with jumping, you can use W, X, up, or space on a control on the keyboard, and you can use A or Y on the gamepad. So they have a lot of different options. You just don't get to pick what they are, which is acceptable, I suppose, because they do give you a lot of choices, but I would prefer if they let you rebind them as well, but it works out, it's fine. Resolution options are incredibly limited. This is it. That's all you get. Full screen or a variety, 5 resolutions. So, not 100% convinced by that, but that's another thing we just have to deal with. We have audio enabled or disabled. There's no audio controls at all, it's just audio on or off. Screen shake on or off, level select checkpoints enabled. There's just not a lot of options. Especially audio options, I would think would be a nice thing to have access to, but you just don't get them, so... Or resolution options. I'm playing in full screen on my monitor, which is not 1280 by 720, so... Or, you know, any of the other 1920 by 1080s. So, none of the main resolutions are supported here as far as I can tell, which is just a little bit weird. But, such it is. Normally I play these games in windowed mode so that I can record them at a good resolution for uploading, but that's not an option available to us, so that's something you might also find issue with. And, yeah, in general, I found that this game was really interesting. I enjoyed playing through it. It's very difficult, in some cases it's very frustrating. The fact that it doesn't communicate everything you can do well to you is a problem. It's a little bit lacking in options, but the music and the visuals are very nice. The gameplay is very snappy and works quite well, and it has a good variety of obstacles. So, I have very mixed opinions on Master Spy, but hopefully you can tell from what we've seen so far whether or not this is a game that'll be appealing to you, and that'll be it for this video. Thank you very much for watching, everyone. This has been Vanguard of Valor, and welcome to Master Spy.